Hey guys, Carlos Bill here with Mex Life. I wanted to touch on a subject that comes up a lot when people connect with me, even though it might be a very short connection. Somebody might say, we're just browsing. We are a year from buying. We're coming down in 3 months. We'll connect with you then. We're going to just see what's on the market, and if we see something, we'll reach out to you. A lot of people think that they're going to, first of all, they don't want to get on the phone with a real estate agent. Nobody wants to do that. I completely understand when I get a call from somebody I don't know, I don't want to be on the phone either. So what I try to do is break down these these barriers by explaining to you why certain times you do want to connect with with somebody, whether it's me or another buyer's agent, honestly. But let's say that you've you've registered on the portal, we have connected. Maybe you've used one of the things that I just said will be down in 6 months, or we're a couple years out. Whatever the case may be, you start browsing on your own, and that's fine. But there is something that I want to add to why I think this is a bit of a mistake. So one of the reasons, and just to let you know, I've got a bunch of notes here. I don't want to miss anything, so I'm going to be just making sure I don't miss anything here. So one of the reasons you want to reach out early, I know it might sound a little cliche, is you just don't know what you don't know, and unless you've spent a lot of time here, you don't know the areas that well. And having somebody on the ground to bounce ideas off of is very useful. So the PV area in Riviera Nayarit is not like buying back home. The prices vary wildly. For example, a home could be sitting for 3 months, and somebody who I've never spoken to finally sees a home that they like. They say, "Hey, this home has been sitting for 3 months. We think we can make a great offer on this." And I mean, it's wonderful that they're reaching out and it's a time to have a conversation, but sitting on the market for 3 months here is not a red flag. And so these things require a little bit of conversation, and all of it is meant to save you time. Everything that I do is meant to save you time and steer you in the right direction. Um, Roads are very different here. Not every neighborhood is paved. There are some dirt roads in areas that are extremely popular, and it might be a deal breaker for somebody. Some people don't like the empedrado, the cobblestone roads, and they might say, "Oh, we don't want to be on a cobblestone road." Okay, you're not going to get all of these things from MLS. So there's a lot of gaps in the MLS: noise, traffic, construction, things you can't see online. HOA structures could vary wildly. A developer reputation, it's always good. If you're looking into pre-construction, wonderful. But let's investigate a little bit. Who is this developer? Have we worked with him? What's their background? Um, so a listing might look great on MLS, but until we do a little bit of searching on this end, it may not be a great fit for you. So save yourself a little bit of time and reach out early. The portal is a great place to get information, but it's very generic, right? So, for example, I tell people, um, if you're going to buy a car and you just type in 4 doors, well, that's going to give you an insane amount of results. But that's about it. That's what people do here. There's over 4,000 listings. So people type in 2 bed, 2 bath, and Puerto Vallarta. That's about the same as looking for, I want to buy a new car, and you're going to start your search with a 4 door car. That's just too generic. So we try to dial in those search parameters and build your portal. And the portal doesn't just get built and that's it. We get feedback and we can adjust your portal. I can explain why some filters work and other filters don't work. Okay. So that's really going to shape your view of what's available. And if you're just doing a search on your own without having that portal dialed in, you have a very different view of what's available. And having your portal dialed in is going to open up your eyes to that. Okay. Again, a lot of time just saved there. Um, One other thing that we can do here is once we get close to a point where you know that, okay, we want to probably close on a property in the next 6 months or so, is we can start looking at off-market opportunities. So there's a lot of off-market groups here, and sometimes we get lucky. We find properties that haven't been posted to MLS. Um, One other advantage is that you have me for support. There's a lot of things that you can find on Google and other things you can't. For example, I get a lot of people who tell me, we want everything, we want walkability. We don't want to have a car. Okay, great. Once you start sharing details like that, I can point you to different neighborhoods. We can talk about those neighborhoods and we can see if the other variables in those neighborhoods fit or they don't fit. Um, I've had situations where people have told me, oh, a friend of mine owns in this neighborhood, so we want to search in that neighborhood. Okay, but does that fit your lifestyle? It fits your friend's lifestyle. Yeah, no, we're in the same boat. We want walkability, we want this, we want that. Okay, they see a property they like. Before they show up, we make a list, we narrow it down. And for example, once I had them pick between two, and I said, this one is a little bit further out, and you said you wanted to be close to everything. So I'm recommending you go with this one because it's a little bit closer. No, we like that one. Okay. As soon as we drove out there, the reality of driving out to that spot, they were like, there's nothing out here. I mean, I did explain to you, it's a little further out. So those types of things, they're hard to really make sense of until you get on the ground. So having somebody here is crucial. Again, saves you a lot of time, saves me a lot of time as well. Um, let's see, what are other things that HOAs, sometimes MLS, usually they'll have the price, the monthly HOA fee. But there's been plenty of times when I've made a call and what I've been told is, oh, right now there's a problem with the HOA and the administration and the owners, and they're in a little fight. And so there's some question marks. Okay, well, these are things I need to share with the buyer before moving forward. Or I might say, look, this just sounds really strange. Let's just take this one off the table because I wouldn't want to represent you moving forward on something like this. Okay, so that's another reason. Timing, this is a big one. A lot of people just say, hey, we're looking for retirement a year down the road, 2 years down the road. That's okay. One of the areas a lot of agents don't really focus on is the market education period. They think they're just tell me how many beds and baths, and I'll just send you some listings. Look, the earlier that we connect, the more that we're going to learn together. I'm going to learn more about what you're looking for. That's going to translate into me being able to dial in that portal, keep an eye on properties that maybe are not being published. Again, if you're a couple years out, that's okay. It doesn't take us very long to have a conversation over the phone and get that portal dialed in. And then maybe we check back in 3 months, maybe we check back in 6 months. Or if you all of a sudden see something that you like and you want to gain some traction and move a little faster, great. But until that portal is dialed in, it's just you could just be spinning your wheels. You could also get lucky. I'm not saying it's always the case, but mainly this is what I find. So it's okay to start a little bit early. Um, there's no pressure. I'm a buyer's agent, as I mentioned. I'm not tied to a specific listing. So I'm not so worried about the timing. More worried about that you're going to find a place that fits what you're looking for. And then 5 years down the road, after you've purchased that place, you are just as happy as the day after you bought it. I don't want anybody buying with a year later buyer's remorse saying, oh, but we never explored this area. And it would have been nice to know that. That's what I want to avoid. So the more time you spend in the market education period, learning the market, speaking to me, adjusting the portal, discussing locations, going back to adjust the portal. By the time you get on the ground, you have so much more confidence. You know what you're looking for that it makes everything that much easier. So all I really need is 5 to 10 minutes to hear a little bit about your lifestyle, your goals, what you're drawn to. I can build the portal around that conversation. You can browse smarter. I can support you along the way. And when you're closer to being ready, then we sit down and we make a real game plan. So let's not waste the visit that you have coming up. Let's prepare for it. Okay, I'm here anytime.